Jai Hind students, we will be starting a new chapter, that is understanding marginalization, and this is going to be the second chapter after the half yearlies. I hope you all are doing well, so let us begin. Let us first understand what is the meaning of this term. What is the meaning of marginalized? Okay, marginalized means when you make somebody without power or powerless. It means you push somebody to the outskirts or out of the center. Okay, when you make somebody or when you force somebody to be without power, that is called as marginalized. Now when we begin this chapter, we should first understand whom are we talking about. In this chapter we will understand how the Adivasis they suffered many years before and how slowly they came up. Now to be marginalized is to be forced to occupy the sides or the fringes okay, and thus not be at the center of the things. Okay, the way I told you that you become powerless, without power, and you are forced to be at the sides and not at the center. Now this is something that some of you have probably experienced in the in your daily life, like in the classroom or in the playground. If you are not like most people in your class, then it happens if your taste is different in music or films, or if you are not studying well, if your accent has a marked distinction which is different from others, or if you do not mix up with people, or you do not play the same sports as the best one plays, or if you dress differently, then there are cases or there are chances that you will be considered to be somebody who does not fit in with your friends. As you can see, it is written. So often what happens, you end up feeling that you are not with the team. Okay, if there are many people who gel together or mix together because they have a particular taste in music, or because they study well, they play a particular sports, or they speak one common language, and you do not do the same, so you are sidelined. Okay, so you may feel and think that you are not accepted by others. There is a case study given of this Adivasis, and it has to say that an Adivasi family is watching the Republic Day parade, and how the grandfather has to tell that they were staying in Orissa many years before they were forced to leave their lands. And sometimes it happened that people came there and they understood that there was iron ore, they wanted to mine it, and so these people had to sell their lands at a very less. They were also promised to be getting good amount for the land if they want to sell, but they were not done. And how they came to Delhi, and the grandfather has to say that his son, he got a job, and the times were very difficult, because if you leave your hometown or where you have been staying for a very long period of time, you feel left out when you leave, go to a new place. And so he has to say that times were very difficult when they came to Delhi, and slowly things started to change. Now the children can speak English. They do not fear of getting mixed up with the others. So we will be dealing with this case study in the class. Now let us understand who are the Adivasis. Now, Adivasi, the term literally means original inhabitants. It means somebody who is originally belonging to one particular place. And they are communities who lived and often continue to live in close association with the forest. So these are those people who are very closely associated with the trees or the forest, and because they derive everything what they need in their life from these forests only. You can say that they worship, in some or the other way, they worship the forests. Now, around 8% of India's population is Adivasi, and many of India's most important mining and industrial centers are located in these Adivasi areas. Now, this term Adivasi, when it comes to your mind, it will seem that somebody who is not up to date, or somebody who is very backward and so on. No, the word Adivasi means original inhabitants of a place, those people who are very close to the forest. Okay, now where do they live? They live in Jamshedpur, Rourkela, Bokaro, Bhilai, such places, and they are about 400 different Adivasi groups in India, and they live in states like Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, all mentioned in your book, Maharashtra, Rajasthan, and so on. A state like Orissa is home to more than 60 different tribal groups, and Adivasi societies are also most distinctive because this is often very little hierarchy among them. This makes them radically different from the other communities, uh, like the Jati Varna and so on, or those who were ruled by the kings. Adivasis, they practice a range of tribal religions that are different from Islam or Hinduism or Christianity. These often involve the worship of ancestors, okay, the village and the nature spirits. I told you that they are very closely associated with the forest. The last with associated with residing in various sites in the landscape, like they believe in mountain spirits, river spirit, animal spirit, and so on. And let me tell you that they worship all these things. The village spirits are often worshipped at specific sacred graves within the village boundary, while the ancestral ones are usually worshipped at the home. Additionally, Adivasis have influenced the different surrounding religions like Sakta, Buddhist, Vaishnava, and so on. Simultaneously, Adivasi religions themselves have influenced dominant religions of the empire around them, but still they stick to their own roots. For example, the Jagannath cult of Orissa and the Shakti and Tantric traditions in Bengal and Assam. During the 19th century, substantial numbers of Adivasi converted to Christianity, which had emerged as a very important religion in those times. Okay, then Adivasis have their own language. Most of them they speak old Sanskrit, which have often deeply influenced by the formation of mainstream Indian language, like Bengali. Santhali has the largest number of speakers and has a very significant body of publications, including magazines on the internet.